Good evening, and we begin at 5 with young lives cut short by gun violence. With 2 of the 3 victims in North Portland's triple shooting over the weekend, students in high school. Families have released photos of 17-year-old Iskender Tamara, who was a junior at Franklin High, and 19-year-old Isaac Dowdy, who was a senior at Roosevelt High. Police have identified a 3rd victim, not pictured here, as 20-year-old Patrick Johnson. Thanks for joining us tonight. I'm David Molko.
And I'm Laurel Porter. The reality is that gun violence is disproportionately impacting black men in Portland. Tim Gordon's here, and Tim, you talked with some who are on the front lines of this, trying to end the violence.
Laurel, we did, both with the city and with a street-level outreach group that the Office of Violence Prevention helps support. They have some things in common. Both are frustrated and want more resources and results.
What I see out here is a lot of misery, a lot of sorrow, and mostly just a whole bunch of trauma for our youth.
Lionel Irving is director of Love is Stronger, a nonprofit that for the past 5 years has taken aim at Portland's gang violence.
One thing, when I come here, I see how far I came, right?
Irving used to be a part of the violence. He saw his good friend shot and killed here at Northeast 12th and Failing years ago.
I've been on both sides of it.
Irving's turned his life around, and now he and his group are reaching out to young people, both those in trouble and those doing well.
One of the biggest solutions is we need to empower the youth who are dealing with their traumas to get around the kids who aren't dealing with their traumas so we can have that positive influence. Is contagious. The
senseless shooting deaths in Portland have been on the rise for several years, the most recent claiming the lives of 3 young men, 2 still just teenagers and high school students.
What burns my soul the most is when we talk to the people in power, they say, well, we don't want to waste the community citizens' money. How could saving a community member's life be a waste of money?
What's more important?
There's nothing more important.
Along with 4 other groups, Love is Stronger is getting $100,000 from the city to do its outreach work this spring and summer. Irving wants to be able to do more year-round.
This is something that affects all of us.
The program manager for the Office of Violence Prevention says he wants that too.
I feel the frustration of all of our partners. I feel the frustration of this community. We're hurting. And so we need to be able to be committed to being able to give everybody who's able to do this job the empowerment, the authority, and the sustainability to do it.
The Office of Violence Prevention directs many programs, working with a $7 million 2-year budget. Irving agrees that it will take a collaborative effort to end the gun violence epidemic, starting at home.
Number 1 solution, the parents got to get active. The parents got to be held accountable.
Then he says supporting community groups to innovate and reach more young people where they are is key, and we need more of it now.
So it's a whole bunch of different ways that we can attack this, but we need to do it all together and cut all that red tape out of there. All that political games, all that wringing your hands while we write obituaries, we tired of that. We tired of that, man.
Feel his frustration there. Again, 2 of these latest victims, high school students. Of course, it's spring break, but PPS says it will have grief support available in counseling centers next Monday, and there are at-home resources available for families right now. We have that information available at KGW.com. David?
As they just said, we need more of it right now. Thank you, Tim. In Washington, a bill is moving forward to ban firearms that are considered assault weapons. The bill's now out of state Senate committee, where Democrats have been trying to pass similar proposals for the past 6 years. They have faced Republican pushback each time. Supporters of the plan include Emily Cantrell, who survived the mass shooting in Las Vegas, the worst in U.S. history. She's hoping this year a ban on the sale and manufacturing of guns defined as assault weapons will become a reality.
They are best served by mass shooters. These are weapons of war. They are meant to kill more people more quickly, and they don't belong in the hands of everyday individuals.
Well, Monday's mass shooting in Nashville was at the forefront of yesterday's debate. 2 of the firearms the Nashville shooter used would have been covered by this bill if it becomes law. Opponents, point to mental health rather than guns.
In Oregon today, the state Senate passed the CHIPS bill with bipartisan support. It's designed to help local businesses access federal funding for semiconductor manufacturing. The bill includes state support to help those businesses with their applications. Congress has made $52 billion available through the federal CHIPS and Science Act. The Oregon CHIPS bill also gives Governor Kotek the power to designate up to 8 sites for manufacturing facilities. It now goes to the State House.
Developing this evening, the Oregon Health Authority has denied Legacy's application to close its Mount Hood Hospital Birthing Center. We've covered this extensively, including how Legacy previously asked to close the Gresham Center, citing low volume and high costs. But their proposal received significant pushback from those who say the birthing center is critical in that area. Now, Legacy needed state approval to close, though it appears they started diverting patients elsewhere around March 17th without that approval. OHA says state officials are now investigating and previously warned the hospital could face consequences. We have now reached out to Legacy for comment.
Today, Governor Tina Kotek signed 2 bills into law aimed at tackling problems with housing and homelessness. The legislature passed them last week. The bills total more than $200 million for priorities like improving shelter capacity, getting people off the street, and speeding up housing construction.
And speaking of housing, we have yet another update on the 180 from Clackamas County Commission Chair Tootie Smith and her sudden vote that scrapped a plan to turn a hotel into transitional housing for homeless people. Evan Watson's in the newsroom. Evan, it turns out her change of heart means the county is now going to have to return millions. What else have you learned?
David, after Chair Tootie Smith reversed her vote, Clackamas County will lose more than $8 million it planned to use on turning a Quality Inn into a transitional housing facility. Most of that money will be returned to the Oregon Community Foundation for other Project Turnkey efforts, a state initiative to acquire hotels or motels and use them to help people experiencing homelessness. But Clackamas County also promised $150,000 as a down payment for the Quality Inn property. That money must be paid to the seller. Plus, the county will likely need to reimburse OCF about $20,000 for appraisal and inspection costs. Today, the Clackamas County Commission decided to hold off on any payment or reimbursement and take a few more days to see if they have any remaining leverage over what happens to the Quality Inn property. Commissioner Savas, who supported the transitional housing plan, said now there are risks about what comes next.
Maybe the outcome of us pulling out might be worse than we actually ever anticipated. If a potential owner doesn't run it, there are some great organizations out there that could purchase this and run it closer to what we want, but we still wouldn't have the level of control or assurances to the community that it would be well ran and as protected as it would be otherwise.
Chair Tootie Smith backed up her decision to change her vote at today's meeting, again saying that she changed her mind after hearing from more and more people who opposed the transitional housing plan. It's not clear just what kind of influence the Clackamas County Commissioners hope to have by delaying the payment of earnest money to the Quality Inn seller. Commissioners said they feel confident someone else will buy the property to run some type of housing facility. Laura?
We'll see what happens. Thank you, Evan. Well, I hope you've been following Pat Doris' series on Eastern Oregon this week. It's been fascinating and eye-opening. Pat joins us now with another sneak peek, taking a look at the Greater Idaho movement. And Pat, even though it's a long shot, there really is momentum to redraw the state border. What's coming up tonight at 6?
Well, Laurel, tonight we're going to meet a business owner who's in the town of John Day, owns a thriving pub there. She's as frustrated as anyone in the rural area who believe the folks in the big cities ignore them. But unlike many I spoke with, Shannon Adair is not a supporter of the Greater Idaho movement. She feels there is too much division in America and in Oregon, but she would like to see Governor Kotek and her team pay attention to rural Oregon and visit to see how they can help.
I mean, people aren't gonna believe that that can happen until it starts to happen, you know, and that's going to take time. You know, time has to be spent in our communities and our small communities. Our small communities have to feel like they matter. I mean, that's the way democracy works. You know, it's the majority rules. But if you want to work together and you want to have, you know, I feel like our government officials are elected, but they need to help everybody in their state. You know, they need to be open and flexible and listening to what everyone is doing in the state. Yeah. Need to reach across the aisle and work together. And I just really believe that's really important.
I found there is a ton of frustration in rural Oregon. 11 counties in eastern Oregon have already voted to start the process to move the border and become part of Idaho. Now, it is highly unlikely this will ever happen. There's a zillion hurdles to clear, and no governor would ever approve it, in my opinion. But we still think it's important to listen and see why the folks in rural Oregon are so angry, and that's what we've been doing. Tonight at 6, we'll hear from Shannon how statewide rules have affected her business and what she thinks the future will bring.
Well, Pat, I know they appreciate you listening to them and sharing their views and their frustration. Thanks. Thank you, Pat. We'll tune in at 6 o'clock.